What's up, what's up, what's up? I'm your girl, you the best, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Svatii Says. This is the full moon in Libra edition. I'm doing a reading for the entire collective. That means anybody who happens upon this video, if it resonates to you or resonates with you, then it is for you. Of course, time is also fluid, so you may or may not be watching this right after the full moon in Libra, which is happening here in April of 2020. Again, if it resonates, no matter when you happen upon it, then it is absolutely meant for you. And if it doesn't resonate, then it's not meant for you. Of course, the most important part of any of these kind of readings is your own intuition. So take what you will and leave what you will. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up at SarahSvatiiSays at gmail.com. My contact information will be below. I am offering virtual readings over either Google Hangouts or Facebook Messenger, depending on what is easier for you, sometimes Zoom. But yeah, before I actually get into the reading, I have a prayer that I'm in love with right now from Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. And I'm going to say it relatively fast. I'm not going to leave time for you to repeat after me. But if this really moves you, I will be happy to type up the prayer and send it to you. And of course, you can rewind it and say it as much as you like. I think it is very, very potent. And just like any other mantra, you can never say it too much. The more you say it, the better. The past is over. It doesn't matter who we are, where we came from, what mommy said, what daddy did, what mistakes we made, what diseases we have, or how depressed we feel. The future can be reprogrammed in this moment. We don't need another seminar, another degree, another lifetime, or anyone's approval in order for this to happen. All we have to do is ask for a miracle and allow it to happen, not resist it. There can be a new beginning, a life unlike the past. Our relationships shall be made new, our careers shall be made new, our bodies shall be made new, our planet shall be made new. So shall the will of God be done on earth as it is in heaven, not later, but now, not elsewhere, but here, not through pain, but through peace. So be it. Amen, Amen, and Ashe. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into this reading. And again, I just use regular playing cards, a system called cardology, which is kind of a cross between astrology and divination using the regular playing cards. Each day of the year is given a card based upon some astrological factors. Today, which is April 8th, 2020, is the King of Diamonds Day, the successful businessman. And I have been dealing with a lot of King of Diamonds energy lately. And it's potent. It's potent. It's potent. Anyway, let me go ahead and do 4 shuffles. And then we'll go ahead and get into the reading. One more shuffle. Then one cut. And off we go. I'm tempted to look at the bottom of the deck. We'll take it. At the bottom of the deck, we have the King of Clubs, which is the King of Knowledge or the father of intuition. And I'm also going to take this. We have the Joker in the upright position, which I read as the Fool, or maybe a pared down version of the Fool, something more like learning to go with the flow instead of trying to force and control every step we make. We have to sometimes, some of us have to learn to go with the flow. If you have, I think Aries in particular, I am an Aries. We tend to have a pretty big ego and we tend to be very powerful. But we also tend to, because of the ego, maybe not really know what's best for us and have the tendency to chase things that are not really what we need. And so if that is the case for you, then going with the flow is better. Things that happen to me unexpectedly or things that happen to me as I'm just kind of floating around and moving according to my heart's desire as opposed to some strict schedule. Those things definitely tend to be better for me than the things that I am controlling and trying to force. Anyway, so those are side issues, I suspect, or side cards that will probably come into play later in the reading. Right now, I'm going to pull a 4-card top line and probably some clarifiers, and we'll go from there. So the overall energy of this reading, again, this is a reading for the collective. Anybody who happens upon this video who finds resonance with what is said, this is for you. Regarding the energies following the super full moon in Libra in April of 2020. So the long range energy, nice. The long range energy is the King of Hearts, which is the loving father card. So the King of Hearts is ultimately a healer just by virtue of existence. It's not someone who necessarily makes healing his job or her job. It's more that someone whose presence is just so strong and so loving that people are naturally just healing by being in that presence. Kings are all about mastery and authority. And so some of us are really coming into some mastery of our emotions and really shifting out of kind of a fear-based existence into a more loving existence. The King of Hearts in general tends to be married more to his job than to his spouse, more to his job and his kids than his spouse. But he does love his spouse as well. It's just not that super attached, you know, we have to be everywhere together, holding hands all the time type of love. It's more, you do what you do, I do what I do. And when time permits, we come together and build. But the king is more focused on raising up his children and getting his business and keeping his business in order. So the Pluto card, or the challenge for this time following the full moon in Libra, is the Jack of Diamonds, which is the card of financial creativity. Jacks are very, very creative energies. All the time when you have a Jack present, you want to keep a journal on hand so that you can journal and keep the creative ideas that are coming to you channeled. You want to get them out as soon as they come, or as soon as possible after they come. You want to put them down on paper, because if this kind of creative energy, it can be very chaotic. If it's not channeled, it turns into fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety, which are really the only things that any of us need to be afraid of right now. So keep a journal on hand, maybe get a voice recorder if you're not good with journaling, and just be prepared to get these ideas. Even if you can't manifest them all, just get them out of your head and either onto a piece of paper or onto some sort of audio document, so that they don't get stuck in your head and create clutter, which creates the fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety that all of us are trying to avoid. With this being in the Pluto position, it's going to be difficult. Like, I'm sure that this energy is going to be like super creative and super have that potential for chaos. So we got to really channel it with this king, and especially with two kings potentially playing on this. I feel like it's going to be easier than it might normally be to not only channel the energy, but to actually live up to that potential. For Jacks are about mastery and creativity. So I feel like we're being supported. I can't wait to see what the environment card is, but I'm pretty sure that we are being supported in actualizing this creativity, which is going to help us. The king is going to help us be focused on the business. The jack is going to help us with creative ideas for promoting the business. And I might, depending on what our time looks like, I'm probably going to actually read directly from the book about that Jack of Diamonds and Pluto, so that we have more clarity and I give you more time for your own intuition to work and figure out what this jack means for you. Now, the result of dealing with or handling appropriately that Jack of Diamonds energy is the Two of Clubs, which is the card in its enlightened state. It is about a conversation, and its shadow aspects are about fear. So ultimately, I feel like that for many people, this Two of Clubs is actually a person. It definitely popped into my head that there is a person for me who is associated with this creative energy that I want to reach out to. Again, if you have questions about that, hit me up. You don't have to be prepared to get a full reading. This is a system that I don't think is very popular or very well known. And so I'm really willing to just share as much information as possible. It doesn't have to be about a full-on reading. But again, so the result of dealing with this this financial creativity is going to bring us into conversation, and I'm sure into partnership with people who can help us to handle and build, promote, support our business. Now, our environment card, or the overall supporting energy of this time, is the Two of Diamonds, which is the wheeler dealer card, or the card of business partnerships. And so, like I suspected, this time is about building our business creatively, promoting our business, and ultimately building partnerships with others whose businesses we can support and whose businesses can support us. This wheeler dealer card gives us a certain amount of negotiating strength, which is super dope. And again, I feel like we're being called on to go with the flow. I feel like some of that go with the flow has to do with the Rona and the fact that many of us are not able to go anywhere. And so in that case, what this Joker is saying is that try to see the being stuck in the house or whatever as an opportunity to really focus on your business. It definitely is an opportunity. I was watching Pam Gregory, the astrologer, the other day, and she reminded me of one of my favorite Eckhart Tolle quotes, which is something along the lines of, no matter what you encounter, try to look at it as if you had chosen it. And on some levels, I personally believe that no matter what we go through, no matter how painful it is, our spirit did choose it, because whatever challenges we go through encourage us to grow into who we were born to be. But anyway, so that going with the flow and that being and owning and appreciating wherever you are, wherever you are, whoever you're with, whether it's fun and comfortable or not, just understanding that it is an opportunity for growth, I think is really, really an important issue and something to remember. And again, Pam Gregory was just saying it, that yeah, sometimes it might feel inauthentic to say that, I accept and appreciate everything that I go through and everywhere that I am. But you really can kind of ease the tension and stress that situations bring to you if you can just say, okay, if you can just stop and be like, okay, this is not cool. I'm not really enjoying myself right now, or this is just not comfortable. And be like, okay, but I probably chose this, or I'm choosing this. So how can I take whatever is happening and transmute it into something that is for my highest good. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull some clarifiers. I guess before I pull the clarifier, I feel like this King of Clubs being here. Clubs are all about our mental processes and things having to do with publishing, YouTube channels, writing a book, again, journaling. I feel teaching. I feel like this King of Clubs being here, or me being compelled to pull that out early, is saying that many of the folks who end up watching this video have a future in the publishing industry. Let's go ahead and... So our first clarifier is the Eight of Clubs, which is the card of mental power. Eights are about power in general. And so that is, to me, is another happy card when we have an 8 present, or especially if we end up having more than one 8 present along with those kings. Again, the challenges that are put before us are mitigated by the power of an 8. Eights are probably the strongest energy. Like 4s and 10s are also power cards, but I think that 8, or at least I definitely consider the 8 to be the most kind of stable energy out there. It is the 8 of Clubs specifically, one of only 3 fixed cards in the deck. So that means that sometimes when it's present, we tend to be very stubborn, which is not a good idea, especially at a time when we're evolving into a more cooperative way of living, cooperating with each other, cooperating with a planet. We don't want to be stubborn, but we do want to take this mental power and use it to our advantage. When the 8 of Clubs specifically is present for us, that means we really have the ability to manifest the things that we visualize. So if you're not clear on exactly what it is you want to do or how you're going to do it, just really kind of visualize the end result. Visualize perhaps going to a celebration of your success. What would you wear? How will you look? And really try to see it until you not only see yourself and whatever you might wear, but you actually feel the emotion and the joy that you will have when you are achieving your goals. This 8 of Clubs is telling us spend some time in visualization. The more you are able to see and experience the joy behind your success, the faster that success will manifest. Let's pull, I think, 2 more clarifying cards, and we'll see. It depends on what time says. The second clarifier is this 3 of Spades, which is the Artist card. Another very close friend of mine is the 3 of Spades. When that card is present, the enlightened side again is art. The darker or the underlying side is worry. Again, whenever we have a lot of creative energy being thrown at us, if it's not channeled, then it turns into mental clutter, i.e. fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety. So again, we want to be prepared to express ourselves creatively. We want to do our journaling. If you don't really have any kind of favorite creative practice, or even if you do, I definitely suggest that everyone keep a coloring book around for those low energy days when you know that you need to create in order to find some peace of mind, but you don't have the energy to do anything else. I feel like it's relatively easy to grab a coloring book and some markers and fill in the spaces. And if you really get into it, it is not only a creative expression, but a meditation of sorts. So coloring is huge. Many of us are artists in one way, shape, form, or the other. And so we're being called upon to start to live that. I got to shout out Elizabeth fucking Marie Psychic. And I probably talked about this in another video, but she had a meme a while ago that said, we've got to stop treating our purpose like a side bitch. And so I think that yeah, we got to focus on what we were born to do. Yes, we all have bills to pay, and sometimes if we haven't figured out what our purpose is, that requires us to work some other gigs. But I'm not telling people to stop doing what they have to do to make money. But I definitely would suggest that we try to find a balance. You know, we work as much as we have to pay our bills, and then we spend as much time as possible after that figuring out what we were born to do. We all have a destiny. And if you're unhappy in any way, shape, form, or the other, then it's because you're not fully on the path to your destiny. I gotta wrap this up. I'm gonna pull one more card really quickly, and that is the Five of Clubs, which is the card of mental restlessness to a certain extent. And this is just a reminder to me to mention that meditation is a really huge and potent tool to connect with our purpose or our higher selves if we're unclear about anything, or if we are just generally kind of unsettled mentally. I know sitting still and being quiet is not for everybody. It's really hard to do. But I have a certification in Yoga Nidra, which is a form of guided meditation. And I learned that guided meditation is almost as powerful as regular seated contentless meditation. So there's tons of guided meditations on YouTube you can listen to. I also have some up at eudabest.bandcamp.com. That's EUDs and David A. best.bandcamp.com, and you can listen to them for free. If you like them, you can pay for them and actually download them. But now is also a really good time to go ahead and start some sort of a meditation practice if you don't already have one. And maybe some of you who do have a practice are going to use that. Maybe that's going to be the offering that you make to the world. You can, I believe, build a business simply from helping people learn how to meditate. So again, following this new moon in Libra from April 7th in the United States, we're building our business, we're finding our partners, and we are learning to control our mind and use it to our advantage. I got to send a big shout out to Justy Robinson Media, my videographer, and my son. I love him so much. I love y'all, and I thank you for listening. Have a great day. Enjoy this full moon energy. Peace.